What's on the agenda? Or
How
you
many
just
minutes have I been talking?
either way is good. How many minutes have I been
Okay, go for it. Let it get. I'm
Okay, go.
I'm listening. Okay.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Associated at Hans Campus Campus. Guys, guys, whenever I come with a new video on a new topic. So today I have a guest name is Maya, and today my topic is explore advancements like electric vehicles and hyperloops. And my question is about advancements that world do. So thank you so much for Maya joining us. And first of all, please introduce yourself and how you like my topic.
Wow. Okay. That was a lot all at once. Haha. Hi, everyone. My name is Maya, and it's so nice to be here with you, Paul. And seriously, that's a really interesting topic. Electric vehicles and hyperloops. It's like the future is zooming at us, isn't it? I love that you're exploring these advancements and their potential impact on the world. It feels hopeful, honestly.
Are you all
Are
right,
you all right,
Paul?
Paul?
You
You seem to pause there.
Is there
Is there anything I can do?
Yes, I am also fine. So, Maya, my first question for you is what is an electric vehicle EV and how does it work?
Okay, great question. So, an electric vehicle or EV is basically a car that runs on electricity instead of gasoline. Now, how does it work? Well, instead of an internal combustion engine, EVs have an electric motor. That motor is powered by a large battery pack, kind of like a really, really big version of the battery in your phone. When you hit the accelerator, the battery sends electricity to the motor, and that makes the wheels turn. It's a lot simpler mechanically than a gasoline car, actually. Way fewer moving parts. And of course, no tailpipe emissions. Does that make sense as a basic overview? Does that explain it clearly enough for your audience, do you think? I can definitely dive into more detail if you'd like about the different types of You're very welcome. Glad that was helpful. Okay, so key differences, there are a bunch. The biggest one is obviously the power source. Gas cars burn gasoline, EVs run on electricity. Because of that, EVs are a lot quieter and they have instant torque, meaning they accelerate really quickly. They also require less maintenance because there's no oil change, no spark plugs, things like that. Then there's the environmental impact. EVs produce zero tailpipe emissions, which is good for air quality, but the electricity has to come from somewhere, so it's not totally carbon neutral. And of course, there's a cost. EVs are usually more expensive upfront. They can save you money on fuel and maintenance over the long term. It's a complicated trade-off, really. Does that cover the main differences? Should I elaborate on anything there? The cost comparison can get a little complicated with tax incentives. Okay, 3 nature benefits of using electric vehicles. So, let's see. First, and probably the biggest is reduced air pollution. EVs don't have a tailpipe, so they don't directly release harmful pollutants into the air, which improves air quality, especially in cities. Second, can help reduce our reliance on fossil fuels with soil spills and less damage to ecosystems. And third, EVs can contribute to quieter cities. Gas cars create a lot of noise pollution, and EVs are significant later, which can be good for wildlife and for people. Those three stand out to me. Are there any others you were thinking of? left off or switch gears entirely? All right. We were talking about batteries. Then you had a slight pause and then the technical difficulties hit. Do you want to circle back to the batteries or move on to the hyperloops like we discussed earlier or something else entirely?
Go to batteries. Please can you explain me about batteries?
Okay. But Trace, are you perhaps referring to battery trace? As in tracking the life cycle and origins of batteries? If so, that's a really interesting topic. It's about creating a transparent supply chain for battery materials, from mining all the way through to recycling. It's becoming increasingly important because of concerns about ethical sourcing of materials like cobalt and the environmental impact of battery production. Basically, it's about knowing where your battery came from, ensuring it was made responsibly, and being able to track it for recycling at the end of its life. Is that what you meant, or is the trace something else? Okay. I'm going to assume I got that wrong. And it's something more specific. Do you have a link? Or can you spell it out? I don't want to steer us off course talking about the wrong thing.
Okay.
Okay. It's okay if you don't have the spelling right now. Maybe it's a new concept you're exploring. Sometimes I don't know everything either, you know?
Yeah.
Is it
so
related to
my-
battery technology?
Yeah. My next question for you is, um, which companies are leading the electric vehicle industry?
Okay, that's a great
Okay, that's a great
Okay, that's a
question.
great
Right now,
Okay, that's a
Tesla is
great
definitely a leader in
question.
the EV
Right
industry
now,
worldwide.
Tesla is
They were
definitely a
early
leader in the
adopters
EV industry
and have a
worldwide.
huge
They were
market
early
share.
adopters
But there
and
are
have
a
a
lot of other
huge market
companies making
share.
big strides.
But there are a
Volkswagen
lot of
Group
other
is
companies making big
investing
strides.
heavily in
Volkswagen Group
EVs and
is
has
investing
several
heavily in
brands
EVs and has
producing
several
electric
brands
cars.
producing electric cars.
BYD,
BYD, a Chinese company, is also a major player, especially in
Then you
China.
have
Then you have
traditional
traditional automakers like General Motors, Ford,
Hyundai,
Hyundai, and Kia, all ramping up their EV production. And of course, there are some newer companies like Rivian and Lucid that are trying to disrupt the market with luxury EVs. It's a really competitive space right now with lots of innovation happening. Does that give you a good overview?
Yes, you give me best overview. Thank you so much for answering my question. So my next question is, how do EVs help in reducing carbon emissions?
You're very welcome. Glad I could help. Okay, so how do EVs help reduce carbon emissions? Well, they do it by eliminating tailpipe emissions, as we talked about earlier. But it's a bit more nuanced than that. EVs themselves don't produce any emissions while they're driving, but the electricity they often comes from power plants, which may burn fossil fuels. So the overall carbon footprint of an EV depends on how clean the electricity grid is where you live. If your electricity comes from renewable sources like solar or wind, then EVs are a lot cleaner. Even if the electricity comes from fossil fuels, EVs are still generally better for the environment than gasoline cars because power plants are more efficient than internal combustion engines. Plus, as the electricity grid becomes cleaner, the environmental benefits of EVs will continue to grow. Does that explanation make sense?
Okay, thank you so much. So my next question.
It's a complicated topic, isn't it?
What challenges are currently faced by EV manufacturers and users?
Okay. Good
Okay, good
There
question.
are definitely
There are
challenges.
definitely challenges.
For manufacturers,
For manufacturers, one of the biggest is the cost of batteries.
They're expensive.
They're expensive to produce, and the raw materials can be hard to source ethically and sustainably.
Then there's the challenge.
Then there's the challenge of building out charging infrastructure. There aren't nearly enough charging stations yet, especially in some areas. For users, range anxiety is a big one. People worry about running out of charge before they can reach a charging station. Charging times can also be slow, and the initial cost of an EV is still higher than a comparable gasoline car. Plus, battery life and replacement costs are concerns for some buyers. It's not a perfect system yet, but these are things companies are working hard to address. Does that cover the main challenges?
Okay.
Would
thank
you
you.
like me to go into more?
Would you like me to go
Yeah.
into more detail on any of
Yeah.
those challenges?
I go to next
Perhaps the
question.
sourcing
So
of.
next question is, how long does it typically take to fully charge an electric vehicle?
Okay, excellent
Excellent
question. How long it takes to fully charge an EV really depends on a few things. First, the size of the battery. Bigger batteries take longer to charge. Second, the charging level. There are three main levels. Level 1 is a standard household outlet, and it's the slowest. It can take like 24 hours or more for a full charge. Level 2 is a 240-volt outlet, like you'd use for a dryer, and it can charge a car in about 48 hours. And then there's DC fast charging, which is the fastest. It can add 80% of the charge in around 30 to 60 minutes. Of course, those times are just estimates, and they vary depending on the car and the charger. It's improving all the time now. Does that break it down clearly enough?
So,
Thank you so much. So
which charging
my
level
next
do you
question
think
for
is
you
the most
is,
practical?
how long does it typically take to fully charge
You're
an
very.
electric vehicle?
Oh, sorry. I answered that one already. My mistake. We just
sorry,
covered
sorry.
that.
So my next
As a
question
reminder,
is, what is regenerative braking in electric vehicle?
no worries at
no
all.
worries at all.
Happens to the
Happens to the
best
best of us.
Okay,
Okay, regenerative braking.
That's
That's a really cool feature of EVs. Basically, when you take your foot off the accelerator or hit the brakes, instead of wasting energy as heat, the motor reverses and acts as a generator. This captures some of the kinetic energy of motion and turns it back into electricity, which is then stored in the battery. And it helps to extend the range of the EV and reduces wear and tear on the brakes. It feels a little different than traditional braking, but most people get used to it quickly. It's like free energy. Does that make sense? Would you
Yes, that
want
makes
a bit more
sense. So my next
detail?
question is, how is the global infrastructures adapting to sport electric vehicles?
Okay, good question. The global infrastructure is adapting, but it's a work in progress. A lot of countries are investing heavily in building out charging networks, installing charging stations at public parking lots, workplaces, and along highways. Governments are also offering incentives to encourage the adoption of EVs, like tax credits and rebates. Utility companies are working to upgrade the electricity grid to handle the increased demand. There are challenges, though, like ensuring equitable access to charging infrastructure in rural and underserved areas, and standardizing charging connectors. But overall, the momentum is building. It's not happening fast enough for some people, but there's definitely a lot of activity happening. Is there a specific region you're interested in hearing about?
Okay, thank you so much for answering my question. So my next question is, how does the Hyperloop
You're very
system
welcome.
work?
Okay, excellent question. Buckle up because it's a bit complicated. A Hyperloop is basically a high-speed transportation system that involves traveling in a pod within a low-pressure tube. Because there's less air resistance in the tube, the pod can travel at incredibly high speeds, potentially over 700 miles per hour. The pods are levitated using either magnetic levitation or air bearings, which reduces friction even further. The tubes can be built either above ground on pillars or underground. It's still a developing technology, and there are a lot of engineering challenges to overcome, but the idea is to revolutionize transportation, sort of like a futuristic train. Does that give you a good basic understanding?
Okay, so my next question is, what are the potential benefits of Hyperloop
you-
transportation?
Okay, great question.
Okay, great question.
The potential
The potential benefits are pretty
significant.
significant.
First and foremost,
First and foremost,
speed.
speed. Hyperloop could drastically reduce travel times between cities. Imagine getting from Los Angeles to San Francisco in just 30 minutes. It could also be more energy efficient than traditional modes of transportation like planes and trains. Because the pods are enclosed in a tube, they're less affected by weather conditions, which means fewer delays. And it could also relieve congestion on roads and in airports. Plus, it could stimulate economic growth by connecting cities and creating new opportunities. It's a bold vision, but the potential's huge. Shall I give you a good overview? Okay. Paul, just a heads up. We're coming up on the 30-minute mark, so the call will end in about a minute. But don't worry, you can always call back later and we can continue our conversation. It's been really great talking with you. Do you have any final questions before we wrap up? Or anything you'd like to revisit? All right, then. Well, it was really nice meeting you and talking about EVs and Hyperloops. I hope your audience found it informative. Feel free to reach out again anytime. Goodbye. Goodbye, Paul. Have a great day.